Hello everybody, I'm Ian with Board Feelings, and let's go and take a look at the wonderful player game On the Rocks, designed by husband and wife duo Michael and Christina Pittre, and published by their own company, Pentree Games. But first, only a small amount of people that watch my videos are subscribers, so if you like what you see, consider subscribing. It only takes a second, and you can always unsubscribe later. In On the Rocks, you are a bartender attempting to complete 3 orders as efficiently as possible so that way by the end you can have the most money compared to your competitors. On your turn, you will roll these 2 6-sided dice that the game calls ice dice. Once you determine what number you get, you're then going to pull the corresponding marbles of that amount out of this bag. The different marbles represent different ingredients. You are then going to place these marbles inside of these 4 or possibly 5, depending on player count, into these cups, with the goal being that at the end of your placing of these marbles, you are then going to draft one of the bowls to then place the marbles into your individual drinks. Essentially, what you're trying to do is to match the marbles with these drink orders underneath your player board. Once you've completed the drink, you can flip it over and get a tip card. These tip cards can either give you a special power during the game, or if you have it at the end, you get money based on the value in the corner. Once you've completed 3 or 4 drinks, you're going to flip them over and put them off the side of your board and indicate that you have now completed 1 of your 3 orders. You're then going to place the completed cards with new drink orders underneath your player board to then start the next order. Once a player has completed 3 orders, the end game is triggered, points are tallied, and whoever has the most points wins. So as you can tell, this is a pretty simple game. This bag of marbles is going to be passed around, and you're slowly going to be filling up these cups with the different ingredients to then complete drinks. What's really interesting is that you can actually choose which marble goes into which drink, which means you can implement some strategy when placing the marbles, so that way the bowl that you draft best benefits your recipes. So what I really like about this game is how simplistic it is. And I don't mean that in a bad way at all. It's very laid back in the fact that you're just rolling dice, placing marbles, drafting a cup, and filling out your orders. The hardest part of the game is probably deciding which marble to place in which cup. And that's probably where the game slows down a bit, but even then it's not too bad. And now, I'm going to be honest, I've never drank before in my life, and so I don't know what any of these drinks are, but just by looking at the art and looking through all these different drink cards, it's really interesting to see all the different type of drinks that exist, and the art of them is just absolutely fantastic and depicted beautifully. In fact, the entire production of this game is really top-notch and honestly beautiful looking. If I had some nitpicks, I would say that maybe these powers on the tip cards aren't quite worth it based on the value of money it gives you at the end of the game. Maybe sometimes they're worth it, but for these specifically, I just haven't quite seen the benefit outweigh the cost. My other 2 nitpicks honestly have to do with the randomness of the game, but in completely opposite areas. I personally like the idea that you can take the marbles out of the bag and then choose which bowl each marble goes into, but it can slow the game down a bit, especially when you're pulling out like 8 to 12 marbles and trying to decide where each one deserves to be placed. So for one of our games, we implemented just doing it randomly, not looking at the marbles and just placing them in the bowls, and honestly, it worked really well. It does take out some of that strategy when placing them, but it sped the game along and I don't think really affected it negatively in much of a way whatsoever. Because then instead of the strategy being, where do I place these marbles? The strategy is just, okay, here are the random assortment of marbles, which one is best for me and my recipes? Honestly, we never really ran into a situation where we took a bowl we didn't want. I don't think it really negatively or positively affects the game one way or the other, so just do what's best for you. And the next little nitpick has to do with the randomness of the card draws. In all of the games I played, I'm pretty sure that each player completed the exact same number of drinks throughout the game, which means the winner and loser was decided based off of obviously a few things. The first being if they used these tip cards or not, and then the value in the corner when you randomly draw a tip from the top of the deck. The second being the randomly drawn values of the orders that you were able to complete. And since tips can be valued $1 to $3 and drinks can be valued $4 to $8, the winner and a loser could really be decided by somebody just happening to draw an 8 and the other person happening to draw a 7. So what I decided to implement is, instead of drawing the top card of these drink decks, we actually reveal 2 cards from the deck, and then when it's your turn to draw drink cards, you can decide which of the 2 to get. Again, I didn't really see a huge difference in strategy or in the end result, but I do feel it gave a little bit more options, so that way you just didn't feel slided by someone else happening to get a higher number than you. That's basically it for On the Rocks. So how did it make me feel? Well, I think the best way to describe it is when I stick my hand inside what they call the shaker bag, and you grab out the marbles and are slowly placing the marbles in a clockwise fashion around inside these cups. It's just relaxing. This is a very low stress, relaxing game. It's honestly a pretty perfect welcoming game for new players to the hobby. It allows some strategy when placing the marbles and by deciding which drinks to complete, and also whether to use your tip abilities or not. But also with new players, there's honestly no bad moves they can make. This is going on my shelf with other welcoming games like Azul or Canvas, because I feel it fits in that category perfectly. So yeah, the best way to describe it is relaxing. I'm Ian with Board Feelings, and those have been my thoughts and feelings for On the Rocks. Have you played it? What did you think? And what is your favorite relaxing game? Leave your thoughts and feelings in the comments below. Now go experience many Board Feelings. I want to thank you all so much for watching my video. I know there are hundreds, if not thousands, of other board game content creators out there, and you took your time to watch this one, so thank you so much. If you like what you see, consider subscribing. You can do that right here. And if you want to see more of my videos, you can click right up here to see more. And down here is just a video that YouTube thinks you may like. So once again, thanks for watching.